Hashtag Fire Fauci trends in the United States after Donald Trump retweets a post and sends the media into a frenzy. No, Fauci will not likely be fired. At least I hope not. And I think it's actually a really good thing that Trump and Fauci disagree. Check out the story from Vox. Fauci acknowledged a delay in the U.S. coronavirus response. Trump then retweeted a call to fire him. Fauci said on CNN Sunday morning that the federal government could have acted sooner to limit the spread of coronavirus. And he's right. Now, is that a serious slamming of the president? Probably not. Trump retweeted something, and now here we are in this stupid controversy. We have a statement from the White House I'm going to read to you. No, he's not being fired. And then I'll tell you, I think it's a really great thing we're seeing this, to be honest. And I'll tell you why. But first, let's read a little bit. Vox says, President Trump retweeted a call to fire Dr. Anthony Fauci Sunday evening, raising concerns about the job security of the public health expert, while once again highlighting the precarious role of experts and the overall uncertainty that has plagued the Trump administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic. The retweet came following a spate of television appearances by Fauci, who is the head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, including a Sunday morning CNN interview in which the doctor said earlier action could have limited COVID-19 related deaths. A conservative former California congressional nominee who has been a sharp Fauci critic on Twitter, Deanna Lorraine, responded to the interview by tweeting, Fauci is now saying that had Trump listened to the medical experts earlier, he could have saved more lives. Fauci was telling people on February 29th that there was nothing to worry about and it posed no threat to the U.S. public at large. Time to hashtag fire Fauci. Trump said, sorry, fake news. It's all on tape. I banned China long before people spoke up. Thank you. Trump did not say fire Fauci. The media is just desperate for something to cling on to. It is true. As far as I've seen, Fauci was wrong as well. We were all wrong, okay? In my first video, I said it wasn't a big deal. I got a ton of flack for it, and I'll own up to that. It's just the way it is. None of us could see the future. I quickly changed my tune. Tucker Carlson came out saying this is going to be serious, and many people in the media did not. Many of us were out in front of this way before the mainstream press. Dr. Fauci was the medical expert. He was saying it's not going to be that bad. Then it got bad. Perhaps they were just trying to stop a panic. And perhaps the reason Fauci is now saying this is because it's true. If we did X sooner, it's no one's fault that we didn't X sooner. Now, should Fauci be fired? Well, take a look at this from Axios. What Dr. Fauci has coming, they write. President Trump retweeted on Sunday night, a tweet that concluded time to fire Fauci, which could unleash some conservatives' simmering suspicions about Anthony Fauci. No, he didn't retweet it. Kind of. It was a quote tweet. So, sure, it doesn't mean he endorsed it either. You know, journalists love to put in their bios on Twitter, retweets do not equal endorsement. Apparently for Trump, it is. No, it's not. Please stop. What they're saying. The White House pushed back on media speculation that Trump may fire Fauci on Monday afternoon, calling it ridiculous. Quote, the media chatter is ridiculous. President Trump is not firing Dr. Fauci. The president's tweet clearly exposed media attempts to maliciously push a falsehood about his China decision in an attempt to rewrite history. It was Democrats and the media who ignored coronavirus, choosing to focus on impeachment instead. And when they finally did comment on the virus, it was to attack President Trump for taking the bold, decisive action to save American lives by cutting off travel from China and from Europe. Dr. Fauci has been and remains a trusted advisor to President Trump. Let me tell you, Dr. Fauci is great. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. Is he wrong? Yes, he is sometimes. But it's actually good. This is good. This is all good. The media needs to stop this. They keep trying to create a rift between Trump and Fauci. There is some pushback, a little bit. But for the most part, even Fauci has said, I wish the media would stop. There's no rift. They're on the same page. There's one simple fact to consider. Fauci is not a politician or economist. Dr. Fauci is going to give advice based on medical decisions. Yes, we recognize what Fauci is saying. We should absolutely take his advice seriously and listen to the guy. He's a doctor. All right, I'll take his word for it. I'm not a doctor. Donald Trump is the president. There's a lot more to consider. National security, the economy. Many people like to rag on the economy. They say, who cares about the economy? We're in a disaster. Well, you have people who can't get food right now, lining up to food banks because they have no money. We have a major economic stimulus to make sure people can get access to resources. Things are kind of falling apart. Now Trump, as an actual politician and someone who's supposed to be leading the country, has a very serious crisis on his hands and a very difficult decision. The doctor has said to him, Trump, you cannot reopen this country. People will get sick. Meanwhile, other people are probably coming to him saying, Trump, people are going without food. The businesses are being crushed. These people are freaking out. Commercial burglaries are up 75% in New York. We must do something. And Trump is hearing both whispering in his ears. What does he do? I got to tell you, I do not want to be the president. I would never want to be in that situation. That's terrifying. You got people saying people are going to die unless you reopen the economy. No, but if you do, people will die of the virus. Pick one. No matter what you do, you're wrong. So what do? Nothing? Well, doing nothing is one of the choices, not reopening the economy. I like the idea that we have Dr. Fauci, who's a medical expert, giving advice to the president and speaking publicly. But perhaps we should have economic experts talking about the threat to the mental well-being of humans who are locked up in their homes. And also the fact that people won't be able to eat and the economy might not recover. But also, you need to consider national security. We have, with a crippled economy, can we defend ourselves against our adversaries? That's both foreign and domestic. I mean, like I mentioned, we got commercial burglaries are going up 75% in New York City. Now, I wouldn't call that a national, enemy necessarily. It's just crime. But these are things that need to be considered. The police force is checking out sick. That's a medical consideration. You've got to be able to pay them, and tax revenue is going to dry up if no one's buying anything. Another consideration. The machine has stopped churning. You can't just look at Dr. Fauci and say he's the absolute. He's not. He's definitely the expert on our health. We want to listen to him, but there's so much more to consider. The state of play, they write. Fauci, who has advised 6 presidents and held high government office back to 1984, is heralded on the cover of the forthcoming issue of The New Yorker as the most trusted man in America. And rising celebrity is always dangerous for a Trump advisor. Fauci also seemed to fuel criticism of the president yesterday when CNN's Jake Tapper asked about a weekend New York Times story documenting warnings about the virus that Trump had downplayed. Quote, obviously, you could logically say that if you had a process that was ongoing and you started mitigation earlier, you could have saved lives, Fauci replied. Obviously, no one is going to deny that, but there was a lot of pushback about shutting things down back then. It wasn't just Trump. Bill de Blasio, Cuomo. Bill de Blasio was late to the party. This is the mayor of New York, for those who don't know. He said we should shut things down. The governor of New York, Cuomo, said, no way, we're not going to do that. It's not just Trump. Fauci isn't here criticizing the president because he's just saying in general, yes, of course, if we did this, things would be better. They're trying to turn it into a partisan issue. They're trying to make it seem like Fauci and Trump are at odds. Fauci may very well be criticizing himself. So I'll throw some shade to that. Do we have that tweet? To Deanna Lorraine, like you said, time to fire Fauci. Yes, Fauci was telling people on the 29th there was nothing to worry about. So maybe he's being self-critical. I don't see him in this quote saying Trump, I guess. He was saying there was some pushback. That's fair and it's true. Can we all just chill out a little bit, I suppose? Axios says why it matters. Trump has embarked on what he has repeatedly called the biggest decision of his life, when to urge governors to begin rolling back shutdown guidance, allowing businesses to reopen. Well, I got good news for everybody. California is talking about a regional reopening of the economy. New York, Connecticut, New Jersey are doing the same thing. Trump is, at the federal level, encouraging governors to do their thing that makes the most sense. That's a smart thing to do because they know better than he does when it comes to their specific jurisdictions. They're slowly planning to reopen. It's good news because it means we're going to get people paid. And the longer we're shut down, the worse things get. There are many businesses that will never reopen again. These peoples have permanently lost access to food and resources and from their jobs. They'll get new jobs. I don't think they're going to just die. But the risk is the longer we stay shut down, the more damage is done. We're going to find a happy medium, which means we may see waves of lockdowns and reopening. We may see, we may have to reopen a little too early, which could result in more people getting sick and dying. That's horrifying. But it might be the best to make sure people can have access to food and our system doesn't completely collapse on itself. Administration sources tell Axios they haven't had the sense that Trump was ready to fire Fauci. At least that was the case before the tweet. But there is enormous pent-up energy among some of Trump's allies in conservative media to launch a full-blown campaign to pressure the president to remove Fauci. I actually disagree. There may be pressure, but a lot of Trump supporters are saying, no way, don't do it. Fauci is popular. And look, Fauci deserves all the credit for being who Fauci is, but Trump picked someone who is widely popular to be on his task force. If Trump shows the American people that he's willing to take advice from people who are even critical of him, that's going to show that he's a good leader willing to put up people who disagree with him, make him look bad. Trump could come out and say, I disagree with Fauci, but I appreciate his expertise and the American people trust him. I will defer to him. Plain and simple. It's the right thing to do. Getting rid of Fauci would be a bad move. They say the most prominent conservative media figures, especially Fox News opinion stars, have so far mostly treated Fauci with kid gloves. What do you mean with kid gloves? We all like the guy. Fauci's popularity is really high across the board. So while there are some people who want him fired, most people, even many Trump supporters, like the guy. Well, I'll leave it there. I'll see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time.